In September 1969, a young army captain named Muammar Gaddafi led a bloodless coup that toppled Libya's monarchy. At just 27 years old, he seized power and declared himself the leader of a new Libya. For the next 42 years, he would rule the country with a mix of populist rhetoric, bold ideology, and ruthless authoritarianism. At first, many saw him as a hero. Gaddafi presented himself as a champion of pan-Arabism and anti-imperialism. He promised to return Libya's vast oil wealth to its people. Early in his rule, he invested heavily in housing, education, and healthcare, winning genuine support from parts of the population. But alongside these reforms, he built a system of absolute control. Gaddafi created what he called the Third Universal Theory, blending elements of socialism, Islam, and Arab nationalism. It became the foundation of his Jamahiriya, or state of the masses. On paper, it was a direct democracy. In reality, every lever of power flowed back to him. Gaddafi cultivated an image that was as flamboyant as it was unsettling. He received world leaders in Bedouin tents set up on the lawns of foreign capitals. He traveled with an all-female bodyguard unit known as the Amazonian Guard. His style was eccentric, but it masked a brutal reality inside Libya. Opposition was crushed without mercy. Dissidents were jailed, tortured, or executed. His secret police penetrated every level of society, ensuring that fear kept people silent. At the same time, Gaddafi's foreign policy turned Libya into a pariah. He funded militant groups abroad, supported acts of terrorism, and provoked confrontations with Western powers. By the 1990s, Libya was under heavy United Nations sanctions, isolated from much of the world. Still, Gaddafi clung to power for decades. Oil revenues sustained his rule, and his unpredictable persona kept both allies and enemies off balance. But beneath the surface, resentment simmered. Years of repression, corruption, and economic mismanagement eroded whatever legitimacy he once had. In 2011, the Arab Spring reached Libya. Protests erupted, and the regime responded with violence. What began as demonstrations escalated into a full-scale uprising. NATO intervention tipped the balance, and within months, Gaddafi's regime collapsed. The man who had ruled from golden palaces and desert tents was reduced to hiding in his hometown of Sirte. In October 2011, rebels found him cowering in a drainage pipe. Moments later, the dictator who had dominated Libya for 4 decades was dead. Gaddafi's fall was not just the end of a ruler. It was a symbol of how quickly absolute power can unravel. His journey, from a young officer seizing control to a flamboyant tyrant on the world stage to a fugitive dragged from a sewer, remains one of the most dramatic reversals of fortune in modern history.